While giving the October Consumer Price Index report, the Statistician General of the Federation and Chief Executive Officer of the National Bureau of Statistics, Dr. Simon B. Harris, said the Consumer Price Index is important because it enables governments, individuals, businessmen and women in the management of their businesses, reiterating the determination of the National Bureau of Statistics to ensure the timeliness in the release of the report to the entire nation.
The Consumer Price Index is used to measure the inflation rate of the country, which I've earlier said is a very important variable that the government, individuals, businessmen and women use it to in the management of their businesses. So indeed, as you are aware, the Statistical Code of Practice permits the National Bureau of Statistics to release to the general public the statistical information carried out by the Bureau on timely basis as enshrined in the Bureau's data release calendar. In the case of inflation rate, at least it requires that 15 days after the preceding month that the inflation rate should be released. Thus, as the National Statistical Office of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I wish to reiterate the determination of NBS to ensure the timeliness in the release of relevant statistical information to the entire nation. A shock in the system, certainly the expectation always is that that trend will continue to be maintained. And so we pray that there will be no shock that will change the narrative. As long as there is no shock, we expect that the trend will, the decelerating trend will continue, and then the inflation rate will certainly be decreasing rather than either remaining static or increasing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
According to the Statistician General and the Chief Executive Officer of the National Bureau of Statistics, the Consumer Price Index takes an aggregate of all the information received across the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory.
The Consumer Price Index takes an aggregate of all the information that we receive across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, and then with this we now come up with an aggregate average that tells us this is what the inflation rate of the country is saying. And so the market items currently comprise about 740 goods and services that are regularly canvassed, and then our enumerators go to them on a regular basis all through the month, and then we now use the information and compute them to come up with the inflation rate. And so these are very important for policy making decisions, so that government will be able to now put in place proper measures that will help it to actually see how some of the government policies will be translated into improving the welfare of the citizenry.
Dr. Harry, who appeals to the media to partner with the NBS to ensure wider dissemination of the Bureau information to every Nigerian, said the inflation rate of the month of October stands at 15.99%.
Rate in Nigeria has continued to maintain a consecutive decline, particularly in the year-on-year headline inflation rate for a period of close to 7 months from the month of March 2021, and an interesting trajectory, so that, as I recounted last time, the month of March inflation rate was 18.17%, while that of April declined to 18.12%, and the decline continued in the month of May to 17.93%, and then the trajectory continued to the month of June with a figure of 17.73%, and then that also slightly declined in the month of July to 17.38%. In the month of August, we recorded an inflation rate of 17.01%, And then after we had gathered information for the competition of the month of September, and as it was reported here, we recorded a figure of 16.63%. This was a drastic decline from the earlier figure of 17.01%. And so this trend has continued up to the month of October 2021, with the inflation rate for all items, and that is the headline inflation for the month of October, increasing to 15.99%.
From the National Bureau of Statistics, Abuja, Matthew Atungu, ATN News.